Hello and welcome back. Today we're doing the part 2 of the $1,800 Ryzen build. Today we're going to be benchmarking a couple of games, doing a synthetic bench test and just comparing the Intel CPU, the i5-7500, up against the Ryzen 3600X. So as you can see, we're currently in Assassin's Creed Odyssey doing the benchmark. And you can see that our FPS is currently on an average of 78. It is fluctuating around, but it is keeping above the 60 FPS mark, which is the sweet spot, and the average is slowly dropping. So we'll wait till the end and we'll see what we end up with. Alright, so these are the settings we were using. This is just a default preset that NVIDIA preloads as it does with every game that you run for the first time. I haven't changed a thing. So as you can see, everything is on high to very high, and the VRAM isn't pushed to the max either. But yeah, obviously it's where it is happy, so it seems to have done a good enough job. Alright, so at the end of the test, these are our results. As you can see, the average FPS is 77 with a minimum of 36 and a maximum of 130, with a total frame score of 4730. So as you can see, I've compared this with my previous run on my Intel system, and as you can see, it's quite a substantial increase over that. With a increase of 1709 on the total frames, a increase of 30 on the average FPS, an increase of 9 on the minimum, and a increase of 65 on the maximum. So it's a pretty substantial increase over the Intel already. So next we ran some Battlefield 1. So everything that I captured in gameplay was done with the NVIDIA video capture on their software, so it really didn't impact any of the performance from the system, so it's really handy to have that. But anyway, as you can see, the gameplay is extremely smooth, there's no stuttering, it doesn't impact your performance on playing the game or anything like that. It just is an overall really nice experience. Now unfortunately the FPS frame capture wasn't actually in the video, but it was fluctuating anywhere from the mid 60s to into the low 70s, and this is on ultra settings, so not only do you have a really nice looking game, but you also have some pretty decent performance. I mean, you could knock that back and put it into high. You don't need to run at ultra because it's really, what do you want? Do you want the performance, or do you want the good aesthetics of the game? But again, I haven't touched the game, it's just whatever NVIDIA is recommending, so yeah. Now as I was saying, this game was running on Ultra, so as you can see all the settings are set to Ultra, and like I again said, you don't have to run it on Ultra. High is plenty enough for having a good looking game, but also getting some good performance as well, and you can extend that to 100 FPS easily. Righto, so as you can see here, I have included the a graph from the Battlefield results of the average FPS with the Intel and the Ryzen build. As you can see, Ryzen is pulling ahead. They've got quite a marginal lead over Intel here, with Intel with a average FPS of 54 and Ryzen with 72. Now that's on ultra settings to keep everything fair, and look, the gameplay experience, there is a massive difference between the two CPUs. So next we're benchmarking Warzone, which is an extremely popular title recently, and as you can see, all our settings are on high, ultra, and again, I haven't touched them, this is just what NVIDIA is recommending. So both CPUs were benchmarked on the same settings, so let's see how they go.
Closing in fast. Get to the safe zone.
Now as you can see, it's running extremely smooth. Again, the FPS counter wasn't included in the video for whatever reason, but at this stage, I believe it was sitting around the 100 FPS mark. Now this game is pretty well optimized. I haven't had a problem running it, obviously. Even with the Intel build, I was getting very decent FPS. Now, most of the time we were getting above 100 FPS, sitting around the 105, 110 FPS mark with the Ryzen CPU. Whereas on the Intel, we were seeing anywhere from, 80, 70 to 80 sort of mark, around that sort of area. Now, as we're aware, Ryzen does favour higher megahertz RAM. Now, my system has 3200 megahertz of RAM currently, which is 12 gigs of that, which I just carried over from my Intel build. So it'll be something that I'll be upgrading to the future. But it's something to take into consideration if you're going to be going down the Ryzen path. Definitely upgrade your RAM to the highest speed that you can. So whether that be 3600 or I don't know if there's anything quicker than that, but if you can go quicker than 3600, would then definitely go for it if that's the path that you wish to choose. And you could see even bigger performances within your games, better FPS, that sort of thing. Now, is Intel a bad choice if you want to, build a gaming PC? Well, no, it's not. You can still have a fantastic experience, achieve really good FPS within your games, run at really good settings, play at ultra, high, that sort of thing, and you'll have no worries. Is Ryzen the better choice to go down? No, it's not either. You really need to just have that conversation with yourself and think, what do I want to use my computer for? Do I want to just stream? Do I want to strictly just play games, not do any content creation? I don't want to edit videos, I don't want to do any of that sort of thing. Or if you want to have a bit of an all-rounder, like my system is, I play games, I create content, I render videos, I do, photo editing, all that sort of thing, encoding video, then, you need to sort of pick a system, a CPU, and build around that to make the system that you want. Now, I've had both Intel and AMD, and I was AMD for a long time, and now I've gone back to Intel, and now I'm back to AMD. Now, simply for me, that was the cost. For $400, I picked up the Ryzen 3600X. Now, at that price point, you can't really find an Intel equivalent that is matching what this system is putting out. Now, my previous build, my Intel, my i5-7500, now, that CPU is a little bit dated. There's more generations now, but at the time, I think that was like something like $330 or something like that. The price difference isn't that significant considering the performance increase that I've gotten with this Ryzen build. So that's another factor to consider when you're building your system is, how much money are you wanting to spend? I've gradually built this system up. It started at the end of last year. I slowly started to, get some better parts, pick up things when they were on sale, that sort of thing. Now, that's a great way to do it because you don't have to fork out so much money in one hit, which is a lot better for a lot of people. But if you can, just spend money at one time and just build your build straight out, well, that's great. Do that. But there's many different options that you can go down to build a decent rig like I have. Alright, so let's have a look at the average FPS of both systems. So as you can see, the Intel again behind on a average FPS of 92 and Ryzen steaming full ahead on 105. Now, all the settings have stayed the same, it's just whatever NVIDIA recommends, so nothing has been changed, it's all fair, and these are the results that we've. So here's a bit of a comparison between the two CPUs. As you can see, there's quite a large difference between the two. Don't pay too much attention to the price, that's in USD. Fast Australians, that means nothing. The cheapest I could find, the i5-7500 was $320 and going up to $430, whereas the Ryzen 5 3600X was, well, $400. As you can see, the Ryzen pulls ahead in just about everything, but it gets a bit more interesting when it comes down to the single thread applications, whereas the Intel sort of claws its way back, and there's actually there's not much of a difference between the two scores there, which was quite interesting. But for the price point of how close they are together, you'd sort of hope that the i5 was good for something. And the single thread applications, as most Intel CPUs seem to be strong at, it also did perform quite well. But again, the Ryzen did come out on top. So in the CPU mark test, well, Ryzen sort of wiped the floor with the Intel, with over double the score there. But I mean, you can look through that list and you can see, well, I mean, it's got a higher clock speed, it boosts higher, it has more cores, it has more threads, it has a higher TDP. So theoretically, it should be, smashing Intel right out of the park, which it is doing. So I mean, what do you really expect? Alright guys, that wraps up today's video. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, let me know down in the comments below. Give me a like. Let me know down below as well, are you an AMD fan or are you an Intel fan? I'd be interested to know your builds and what side of the fence you sit on. Anyway, that'll wrap it up for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one.